I've always accepted that powerful, rich people had been planning for something like this, and when it happened, they would be ready, and it looks like they were.
Yeah.
What I reject is the idea that Prince Charles and Bill Gates and other powerful tycoons, your man Schwab, all sat around in darkened rooms planning the crisis. I mean, the worst of the conspiracy theories is that COVID was planted in order to engender the crisis. I reject that, but I do think it's fairly logical that clever, rich tycoons and powerful people were planning for something like this, and now they're ready and they're poised, and it's already to our disadvantage because they've turned all our towns into impossible places for cars.
Yes, they don't sit around in darkened rooms because they are doing it at Davos, which is a meeting place of it's sometimes described as a place where billionaires go to lecture millionaires on how ordinary people live or how they should live. And this is what happens, that they fly in their private jets and they travel from the airport in their limos to these glorious hotels, none of which I'm sure have darkened rooms. And they get off on delivering these speeches where they've used code phrases like build back better, and they get reported enthusiastically in a lot of the media, and the media goes, oh, that sustainability sounds really great. It sounds like really eco-friendly. It'll save the planet. So you see how it works. It's not kind of cackling baddies sitting around in darkened, smoke-filled rooms. Well, they wouldn't smoke out, obviously, anymore. In darkened rooms, plotting the destruction of civilization. It's all out in the open. And our mistake is to go, well, they can't be serious because it all sounds a bit kind of crazy. That's their secret weapon, is our complacency and our kind of, oh, it's never going to happen. Because look at this year. At the beginning of this year, you'd have thought none of this is going to happen. Look at what Rishi Sunak is storing up. He is spending so much on furlough that I think it's going to be pretty much impossible for our economy to resume normality ever again. It's going to be universal basic income, which is another of the great resets, great schemes for us all. Sure. It's going to be terrifying.
Well, I'm glad you segued on to that. So if I would like to, while I've got you, to talk about a couple of more direct issues that are going on right now. And one is that, I mean, the madness of lockdown 2. It doesn't seem to be any valid legitimate information that justifies lockdown 2, and then suddenly Rishi Sunak, Dishy Rishi, says, oh, the furlough scheme will go on till March. That will mean that millions of people have had 80% of their salary paid for a whole year. When is this going to stop? There's something crazy going on. I can't get a handle on it. Your feelings?
And also, Kevin, why aren't more people resisting? I mean, actually, I can almost answer that question. There was a demo in London last night, and the police, some of whom speak with accents which suggest they've been imported from other countries, maybe from countries where police are more used to being boot boys. The police are clamping down on any demonstrations very, very aggressively. I hear reports that they were targeting women specifically in order, I suppose, to sort of pique the gallantry of men among the demonstrators, and perhaps generate more violence that the police could then crush aggressively. Now you compare and contrast the kid glove treatment of the Extinction Rebellion protest, which closed down London,
and Black Lives Matter,
far more damage. And Black Lives Matter caused far more damage to property. This government is very, very serious about forcing its lockdown agenda, whether we like it or not. These swinging fines they're imposing. I salute those kids at Manchester University, or one of the universities in Manchester, who knocked down that wall that was surrounding them, keeping them prisoners in their own university. I think it's so wrong, and I think what's being done to our country is so wrong. What the government's propagandists have done is created a wedge between those of us who believe in principles like liberty and proportionality, and the cowed section of the populace, which has actually started blaming people like me, people who are trying to stick up for our freedoms, and they're saying, well, if you'd worn a mask earlier and if you'd obeyed the lockdown more religiously, this wouldn't have happened. It's really scary.
And it's such rubbish. I mean, you know, as somebody, a lot of people have been tweeted. So those face masks worked really well, didn't they? Got another lockdown. That first lockdown really worked well. Let's have another one. If the first one had worked, why would we need a second one? Why have we still got to wear face masks when it's clearly not working? I mean, there is something mad going on, and you're right, James. I urge all the listeners to at least be sceptical about what this government's up to, and we have to try to resist the stringent changes they're trying to make to what once were our free lives. Last point, James, just before you go, your feelings about America. I do not think this is a triumph for liberalism. I do not think that Joe Biden marks a brave new bright world. That election was far too close for that. America's very divided. I think the future's murky, not bright.
America was always divided long before Donald Trump came along. These divisions have been with us for a very long time. It's just that they've come to a head now, and I think Donald Trump did a very good thing in bringing them to a head, because I think things had been unaddressed, and I think it's fairly clear that a huge chunk of America, if not perhaps the majority, I believe it was the majority, actually supports Donald Trump. And I think there has been massive corruption. We've experienced in this country the corruption of postal voting. I mean, it's very, very dodgy.
It is dodgy. Yeah.
In America, I think it's probably been even worse in this election. I mean, how can a doddery, senile man with a hard left woman as his running mate, how can he, with his appalling track record, have got more votes than handsome, charismatic,
thrusting, young, dynamic Mr. Trump?
Barack Obama did. Barack Obama did. I'm talking about. I think that definitely this has been stolen from Donald Trump, and I say finally, shame on all those alleged conservatives. And I'm calling you out because you're not really conservatives. You're demanding that Trump surrenders gracefully an election which has been stolen from him. Shame on you, because you are going to, if Biden does get in, you are going to rue the day. It's going to empower censorious big tech. It's going to be out of control. And Trump was your last chance of reining it in. I think the world is going to be an uglier, darker, less free place if Trump gets cheated in this election. And I hope he fights to the bitter end, because he's doing it for all of us.